Good afternoon, students. Today we will see about a new disease of congenital heart disease, which name is VSD or ventricular septal defect. So, what itself says that is a ventricular septal defect. So, there is a defect between the septum which covers or which dividing the two ventricles. So, that is between the right ventricle and left ventricle. So there is an abnormal opening which remains even after the birth, because this opening, which is considered to be as normal during the intrauterine life, but in case of after the birth, this uh, foramen should get closed and this communication should be stopped, because now the blood will go for on the right side of the heart into the pulmonary circulation for ventilation or oxygenation, and the left side of the heart will have oxygenated blood will be pushing inside the aorta for the systemic circulation. But whenever this failure of this closure of this foramen and remain in the defect which is known as ventricular septal defect. So basically, if we see, there are three types of defects are there, depends on their locations and their severity. So we'll name will be as number one is supracrystal VSD, number two is membranous VSD, and number three is muscular VSD. So the name itself we will see each type in detail. So we have seen the different types of VSD. So we'll go in detail one, that supracrystal VSD. So name itself is revealing about its location. So it occurs just beneath the aortic valve at the left ventricular outflow tract. Okay, because in the left ventricle we have aortic valve also, through which the blood is getting ejected inside the aorta and throughout the systemic circulation. So just beneath that we have such kind of VSD which is known as supracrystal VSD. Next type which will include about the membranous VSD. This is the most common type of VSD and which originate inferior to the crista supraventricularis. It is a part of an intraventricular septum. So just inferior to this crista supraventricularis, this kind of defect will be present, which is known as membranous VSD. The third one is known as a muscular VSD, because if you see the anatomy of intraventricular septum, half major 70% of the part is membranous and below 30% part is muscular. Okay, so it occurs in mid to apical intraverticular septum in the muscular part, and this abnormal defect is known as muscular VSD. So this depend on the three different types. We have a bit kind of uh, changes will be noted in the clinical manifestations. Okay, that each which manifestation will be seen, that will be depend on the size and defect of the VSD. So clinical manifestations of VSD will include about, initially that will not be seen during the time of the birth, but because of the high pulmonary vascular resistance will be there in the newborn, and because of that you will not be able to see the much symptoms during the early neonatal life. But when the infant is growing and it getting engaged with the moderate to large defect and become symptomatic within the few weeks of life. The symptoms will include about shortness of breath while feeding, poor growth of a baby, failure to gain weight, pounding heart, and frequent respiratory tract infection and reversals of the sun's occur, that is called as Eisenmenger syndrome. Here the oxygenated blood is getting mixed with deoxygenated blood. Left ventricular oxygenated blood is getting inside the right ventricle, which is deoxygenated blood, and again it is going in the pulmonary circulation and ultimately increasing the load on the heart, but there will not be a kind of cyanosis or life threatening issues, because here oxygenated blood is getting mixed with deoxygenated blood and again going for recirculation. But whenever this pressure gradient keep on increasing and this pressure is keep on reversing, that is known as Eisenmenger syndrome. Now this oxygenated blood is directly getting mixed with the deoxygenated blood, or shunt is producing from the right side of the heart to the left side of the heart. Then mixed blood will go for circulation and you will see the kind of cyanotic features. Cyanosis over the lips, mucosal membrane and clubbing will be noted. On clinical examination, especially during the auscultation, there will be a pain systolic murmur will be present. S1 is masked by the movement of the murmur and S3 can be heard over the apex of the heart, because in the apex there is an intraventricular septum, and because of the defect there will be S3 or additional sound will be produced, which can be heard over the apex during the auscultatory function. Next will be the chest X-ray, will obviously show about increase in the size of the heart, that will be cardiomegaly, and increase in the pulmonary vascular margins, because there is an overload over the pulmonary vasculature because of the oxygenated blood getting mixed with the deoxygenated blood and again going for the pulmonary circulation. In case of medical management, we will see about diuretics and digoxin will be the choice of the drugs. Along with patient required adequate nutrition, high calorie formula, especially when the kid is feeding, then proper breast milk is required. Supplementary tube feedings can be required in case the patient is not able to cope up with the nutritional feed from the mother. Then prophylactic antibiotics to prevent the bacterial endocarditis, because it will worsen the condition more. Next, if the all kind of medical condition is not getting recovered or is not responding well, then we can go for a surgical repair, that is known as closed stitches or special patches are available. Next will be the interventional cardiac catheterization can also be done to conclude or close the septal defect. And out of this surgical part, we can go for other physiotherapy management as well. If patient has undergone the surgical part, then the outcome of surgery is 95% of the success rate, and growth of the child is catches up in the 1 to 2 years of the age. Then size of the heart will be reduced and murmur can be heard during the post surgery, after the surgery up to 2 to 3 months, but very little clinical importance of this murmur. Now after the surgery, the patient will have to go for a post cardiac rehabilitation or post surgical rehabilitation of cardiac events, which will include about initially from day 1 to day 7 in the hospitals or mostly in the ICU setups. There we can go for a management of breathing exercises, along with the if any kind of sputum collection or the fluid collection inside the lung tissues, then it has to be removed with the help of postural drainage. Along with that, we can go for vibration, cupping and suctioning. But most of these it can be age can be vary from 1 year to 10 years of the age where the patient is going for this kind of surgeries. So in the early age or less than 2 years of the age, it's difficult to teach the patient about normal breathing protocols. But above the age of 2 years, patient may understand easily, and the child has to learn about different breathing protocols to maintain is vital and reduce the breathlessness. After this, if the age is suitable and all developmental stones are normal, then we can take them the patient to the physical active range of motion exercises, flexibility exercises, and over the certain amount of machine activities, which include treadmill, bicycle ergometer, and cross trainer.